Hey, this is Mike Barnes, the financial first responder. As parents, have you ever thought about some of the mistakes you could make if you did this one thing? It's really a big thing. Your children are your legacy. But what I find when I talk to clients and when I talk to other people, they want to make minor children their beneficiaries. They do it on their financial documents, they do it on their life insurance. They just do it and they don't think about the repercussions. So, as a result of that, for the next few minutes, I'm going to talk to you about some of the things you need to be aware before you do that. Without further ado, let's get started. So, the first thing I would say is since these little ones are your legacy, and you look at this mom, she's reading to her child, she's probably not thinking about if she's designating minors as a beneficiary, it could lead to some legal complications or some complexities. See, minors can't directly receive life insurance proceeds or inheritance, so a legal guardian or a trust must be established to manage the funds until the child reaches the age of the majority. Now, some of you may say, well, the age of majority is 18. Well, yes, it is, but we want to keep this in perspective. Like, think of it this way. If you were to pass away and you left your child some of the insane amounts of money that people have in their 401ks or in their insurance policies or just in their bank accounts, who would help them plan? That's a good question. And Mike, the reason why I think you should ask parents this question is because we don't ever think we're going to die. We think that we're going to live to a ripe old age, but the fact of the matter is that people do die and they leave their children in some complex situations. So let's look at that. Guardianship concerns. Now, when you're setting up your wills or you're doing your actual other financial documents, things that you need to consider is if a guardian is appointed to manage the funds for your child, there may be some concerns about their ability to handle financial matters in the best interest of the child. Choosing a suitable guardian can be a difficult decision. So, example, my wife and I, we have almost grown children, but when they were younger, the hardest part for us to do was to think about who would take care of them if something were to happen to myself or her and myself. So one of the things that we had to do was we had to sit down and talk to our attorney. And we came up with a will, we came up with who would do what. And we before we appointed somebody as a guardian, we had to ask that person, and yes, the person was financially savvy. We had to ask that person, would they in fact want to be the guardian of our three children? See, a lot of you people, parents, guardians, whether it's a stepchild or whether it's your child, you don't think about if something were to happen. Just because you go to work today doesn't mean you're meant to come back. So, yes, this is a serious topic, and I want you to think about your guardians. Like, you might have a brother or sister who may be willing to do it, but may not be financially capable of handling the proceeds or the things that you may leave behind. And so I want you thinking about that so that when something happens, if something happens, your children are left in the best hands possible. Because look at these babies. These babies, they got smiles on their faces, but if something happened to mom or dad or both, it would be tragic. So then that goes into saying, what about limited control? See, once the funds are designated to a minor, you lose control over how the money is used. It may not be used for its intended purposes, such as their education, support, and it may not be managed properly. So you want to make sure that, and let me keep it clear. You want to seek financial advice, you want to seek an attorney on this, but I know, and I know of some cases where spouses, instead of leaving money to their spouses, they've put their children down who are minors, and Maybe it was at work, their HR person didn't check it, didn't catch it. And if something happens, God forbid, then all the money goes to this minor, and then the spouse gets whatever was in their name. So you want to think about that on a greater scale. Like, if my child is not of the majority, and most people in general are not good at finance, why would you leave lump sums of money to a child? Well, Mike, what else could happen? Well, there are tax implications. In some jurisdictions, and you need to check your state that you live in, but in some jurisdictions, there may be tax implications when minors receive significant sums of money. It's important to consider how this might affect your estate and the beneficiaries of anything else you're doing. Now, I'm just giving you generic stuff tonight. I actually have a plan for you. And I want you to seek this plan. And some of you will and some of you won't. That's what happens. So, why do I say that? Because some of you are going to do this. You're going to delay in access. You're going to have a delay in access. Even if a trust is set up, the child may not have access to the funds until they reach a certain age, which could delay their ability to use the money for important needs such as an education or medical expenses. Now, the people I work with, they actually sit down with my clients and actually walk them through this process. And the reason why I want you to consider sitting down and getting this done is because it's not a question of when it's going to happen or where it's going to happen. It's the fact that it is going to happen. So think of it this way. Right now it's pouring down, raining outside. And if I walked outside, I'm going to get wet unless I got an umbrella, right? And then I might still get wet because the wind is blowing. So your finances is a lot like walking in the rain with no umbrella, no protection. So with that said, let's talk about protection. See, protection. A lot of people say, well, can I leave money to a minor? Yeah, sure you can. Is it advisable? No. Now, you can leave money to a minor in life insurance or in some of your other avenues as far as finances. I don't advise it. However, it's important to consider the implications of doing so. If your children are minors, you may need to designate a legal guardian or establish a trust to manage the proceeds of the policy on their behalf until they reach the adult age or the majority. Consulting with a financial advisor, a financial first responder, estate planning attorney can help you make informed decisions about how to structure your life insurance policy and to best meet the needs of your family. See, this guy right now, he not thinking about dying. He cutting a daggone pumpkin. It's Halloween time, I'm assuming, right? It can happen anytime. So what I want you thinking about is I want you thinking about, man, what if I'm not here and I have my stuff set up wrong? How does that affect my family? Well, here's some of my final thoughts. I have an event coming up. It's going to be March the 25th, or you may catch some of my later events, but this one is coming March 25th. It is a webinar where we would go into great detail about some of these things. You'll see the link listed. And one of the things that I want to leave with you tonight is thinking of designating your children as beneficiaries on your financial documents or life insurance. Consider these key points first. To ensure their financial future is protected wisely, stay informed, and stay empowered. How do you do that? You need to get some financial advice. Financial planning, looking at your life insurance, and looking at your legacy. Please like and subscribe. Share this with another person. You may save that family's life financially. And until we talk again, This has been Mike Barnes, the financial first responder. I look forward to talking to you and have a great day. God bless.